Hello, this is the Provoked Brawn, and this is a video to compare two lightweight wired gaming mice that are remarkably similar. The HyperX Pulsefire Haste, as you can see here, and the Asus TUF Gaming M4 Air. Now these are two quite similar mice for a number of different reasons. They both have very similar specs for a start. They both offer up to 16,000 max DPI, multiple adjustable DPI levels with a DPI button on top, 6 programmable buttons, and specs that include similar and comparable speeds. The HyperX Pulsefire Haste has 450 IPS, 40 Gs acceleration, while the TUF Gaming M4 Air has 400 IPS and 40 Gs at max acceleration. They both have 1000 Hz polling rate, and they're both quite similar in style, shape and size with some minor differences. You'll notice, for example, that the Pulsefire Haste has an RGB light on the mouse wheel, whereas the TUF Gaming M4 Air has no RGB lighting at all. They both have PTFE feet, with the TUF M4 Air having slightly more surface in terms of the area of those PTFE areas, and so it's a little bit slicker. They're also both incredibly lightweight. The TUF is said to come in at 47 grams, although I measured it to be about 52, and the Pulsefire Haste is about 59 grams, depending on whether you're measuring the cable or not when it comes in at 80, so they're roughly comparable in terms of the size, shape, weight and overall design. And you can see the two side by side here, with the Pulsefire Haste on the left and the TUF Gaming M4 Air on the right, and you'll notice the sort of overall size of them, the look and feel of them is very similar and comparable, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to compare them. They're both obviously wired mice with a roughly similar price point and a similar style to them. What you will notice is that I have grip tape applied to the Pulsefire Haste, which I'll talk a bit more about later on, and that's not there as default. But both of them are very grippy and comfortable to use, and I found them both to be very responsive and fun to game with. And despite being reasonably understated, not too in your face, and not all singing all dancing, they're still remarkably good mice. I was really surprised by the TUF Gaming M4 Air because it comes in at about £50 sterling, $50. It's not that expensive, and yet it packs in some pretty decent features, and it's comfortable and flexible and really easy to use. Also nice and light, so you can obviously flick it about. It's one of the lightest mice I've seen, weighing in at just 52 grams, remarkably lightweight, and it has a good flexible cord to it as well. And the same goes for the Pulsefire Haste. They're both remarkably comparable. One thing that's interesting about the M4 Air is that it has IPX6 rating, and Asus claims to have an antibacterial guard coating on it, which means that it's resistant to germ buildup over time. It's also IPX6 rated, as I said, which means that you can hold up to even jets of water being sprayed on the internals, although it's not submersible in water. So neither of them is waterproof, but they should resist a slight spill, for example, if you spilt a drink, or just sweat from your hands if you're worried about that sort of thing. And obviously, having all those holes in them over time, it's good to know that they can withstand those sorts of things. They both have a DPI button on top, but will you note that the Pulsefire Haste is ever so slightly smaller. However, one of the things I really liked about the Pulsefire Haste, and be sure to check out the review to find out a more in-depth look at it, including all the software. I'll link to both reviews in the description. But one thing I really liked about the Pulsefire is that RGB lighting on the mouse wheel is not just for show. It also gives you a visual cue of when the DPI levels have changed, so you actually have a colour difference to let you know what level of DPI you're on. Whereas the TUF M4 Air lets you know from a notification within Windows what level of DPI you're on, from the ones you've set within the Armoury Crate software. So they're both adjustable and customizable up to 16,000 DPI, which obviously makes them quite flexible in the levels you've set them to. But perhaps the most appealing factor is that weight. As I said, Asus claims a weight of 47 grams, but I got 52 out of it. However, it's still remarkable when you compare it with something like the Logitech G Pro X Superlight, which weighs in about 64 grams. and that is a wireless mouse, and the SteelSeries Aerox 3 wireless, which is 68 grams. Those are two of the lightest wireless mice that you can get hold of at the moment, and both the Pulsefire Haste and the TUF Gaming M4 Air are lighter than those. They are, of course, wired mice, so you do have that wire there, and you don't have, obviously, a battery contained within it, so you have that bonus, but they're still remarkably lightweight for the price. Now, the advantage of the Pulsefire Haste is the addition of the grip tape, so it's a really fairly grippy, with a kind of matte finish plastic on it, and obviously with all those holes in there, it's pretty easy to hold on to. I found that both these mice are roughly comparable in the overall shape and size of them. I have reasonably large hands, but they have a good fit for my style of gaming, and they fit comfortably, and it's easy to access all the buttons and use them. The side buttons are easy to access. For example, I've had problems in the past with gaming mice that I've used where some of the side buttons are a bit fiddly. I haven't had that experience with these, and the TUF Gaming M4 Air is particularly easy to access. Now, the TUF mouse doesn't have any grip tape with it, however it does also have that sort of rough textured finish to it, which makes it easy to hold on to. But one of the things I found is, even over a long time of use, oils and things like that aren't building up on the surface of it, so it still maintains quite a good look to it. Even daily, regular use, it isn't a problem. Also, it's resistant to just getting hot and sort of sweaty and having problems with it slipping around. It's easy to hold on to, and it's a really comfortable mouse, and because of those larger PTFE areas, it's really easy to flick around the desk too. A close-up look, and you'll also see there are some very nice accents on things like the mouse wheel, which has a nice texture to it, and it's a reasonably quiet one as well. It doesn't give loads of noise when you scroll it. It gives a nice tactile feedback, and it's responsive, and it's also easy on the eye. There are some hidden features within the software that'll let you know that you can switch between profiles. So it has 3 onboard memory profiles you can switch between, and I went into a bit more depth on that in the review. So you can set up 3 different profiles, and you can use different button combinations to switch between them on the fly as well. So there are hidden tricks to both of these within the software, and a lot of things going for either of them. I think the Pulsefire Haste is my favourite out of the two, but they're both wonderful for a number of different reasons. And simple things like that single RGB on the mouse wheel is a nice touch for the Pulsefire Haste, which is sadly lacking on the TUF Gaming M4 Air. If you don't like RGB and don't really care about it, then the Asus mouse is probably the better option, because it is no frills, but it is still a fantastic setup. Great specs for the money. It's a really affordable yet completely usable, accurate and easy to get to grips with mouse, and what more could you want? This has been the Provoked Prawn. Thanks for watching. This has been the Provoked Prawn. Hope you found this video useful, interesting, hilarious, or otherwise. Take a look at these other videos that I think you might find interesting as well, and have a look at the description for links and other information you might find useful. Click that join button to see the benefits of being a member of my YouTube channel, and most importantly, have a great life.